What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Casey and Michelle, and we are finally getting around to discussing the season one episode of Daryl Dixon. We couldn't do it without Michelle. You know, she was off gallivanting for the last episode, so we had to wait for her to come back, and then we all had to get settled with life. So now we are discussing the season one finale. How are y'all feeling about this show so far?
Daryl need to go home. Daryl need to go home. Laurent need a whooping.
That's pretty much par for the course.
Right. I mean, there's nothing else to say after those two things.
Right. Yeah. I think the thing that really bothers me, and not necessarily about the show, what bothers me about the characters or the people that we are meeting, is expecting Daryl to want to stay there and how important he is to Laurent and blah, blah, blah. This man continuously is telling y'all he has family at home. He has people back home. I think Isabel said something to him about, she was trying to make him feel guilty. She said something about comparing him breaking his promise to, or him not being there for Laurent, kind of comparing it to his father not being there for him. I was like, hold up. He got other children back home that he need to be there for.
That part. Yeah. And that's the part that bothers me about this episode, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're making Daryl feel responsible for him.
Laurent, right.
Yeah.
Just because Laurent is
right, and like, you have to stay here with us.
Yeah.
Like,
because he hasn't had this kind of influence before.
Right.
That's y'all's fault.
So it's very hard, like, excuse me, friends. I mean, he walked into your life. Let him walk. You even asked him his history. You so busy with this going on, but
that's Daryl has always been very open since the beginning. Even when he agreed to take him, because he wanted a radio. Yeah, I'll take him if I can get back home. Right. So he's always been very clear on what his mission is.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what has come along, I got people I got to get back to. I got people I got to get to. How can I get to the boat when the boat comes and where I got to get to the boat?
Mm-hmm.
Daryl has been very clear. I'm going to help you, but that's who Daryl is. I'm going to help you, but I still got to go off and do what I got to do. Because even when he left Commonwealth, he knew he had to take care of them damn kids, but he loved his brother. He's like, let me go see what I can find out.
Mm-hmm.
But what he say, I'll be back. So you can't think that this man ain't going to keep this promise. Even going all the way back to season one when he was dedicated out there looking for Sophia, he's not going to stop until he's done. He do what he said he was going to do. Once it's accomplished, I'm gone.
Right.
But we don't have a history like this where I'm just going to leave all my family behind
and just stay in France. Like, they don't know what has happened to me. And especially with all of the loss that they have had in that group in recent years, nothing about Daryl would make me think that he would be the type to be like, okay, I'm just going to leave them to wander. And I'm just going to stay over here and kick it with Laurent and Isabel. And I'm telling y'all again, they pushing this. Isabel and Daryl, they doing too many.
I'm on your side now.
They doing too many looks.
At first, I was like, no, but they are trying to push this relationship, and I'm not feeling it. And I really felt it in this episode because it's like Daryl was around when Judith was a baby. Even RJ was a baby. That's like his kids, pretty much. He is Uncle Daryl. This little boy, what we know, for like 2 weeks. How long has it been? A month, maybe?
It's probably been a couple of months at this point because they've
still not enough time. Still not enough time.
Right.
Still not enough time. That you asking him to stay. Like
they're making all of these different little references, like Lo saying, oh, maybe it's not about, the mission, why you want to stay, while he's looking at Isabelle and Laurent down at the bottom. I was like, y'all are really making me sick.
Yeah, I'm not caring for it.
Because
but he's not either, in a way, because he like, all right, but we have to, even if this is what you pushing, You have to look at Daryl's track record. Because at the end of the day, Daryl's going to do what he need to do for the people that he loves, the people he care about. Because he was gone. Remember, he was off in the forest living tree life with Leah. But when it came down to it, he killed Leah for Maggie. He don't give a damn. His family is important to him. And to think I'm just going to leave them and stay here with you guys, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no. But the thing with Leah is different because Leah turned on him. You know what I'm saying? Like she was with this other group, and when he gave her the opportunity to come back with him and to be with his people, she made the choice to, yes, she killed Pope, but then she turned on Daryl. So that was a little bit different. But the thing that worries me about the whole thing with Daryl and Isabel is, one, we already know when it comes to Daryl and the Walking Dead fandom, there are two clear camps as far as who people want to see him with. You got Carol over here and you got Connie over here. Now notice they have never made anything concrete with either of those two characters. They keep putting like a couple of feelers and a couple of breadcrumbs, but they've never crossed that line. But here you have a stranger like Leah, you bring her in and all of a sudden he's like in this committed relationship, and you know, after he leaves and comes back to find her, he leaves her a note, I belong with you, and all this other stuff. So I feel like they're probably going to push the Isabel thing, one, because she's an unknown, and two, because that gives them a way to make Daryl Dixon a sexual being and to make him in a relationship without having to choose sides in the main fandom. I feel like it's a cop-out.
It is.
I can Team Connie. She made a sign that said Team Connie just that quick.
All day.
But I mean, but either way it goes, I'm not saying that a relationship with Isabel would be a bad thing, because I think in the right circumstances, it probably could work. This is somebody who has no idea of Daryl's past. She knows nothing about the person that he was. It would be an opportunity for a fresh start, similar to the way it was with Leah. However, I'm just not buying it. It's like I said, I felt those vibes and what they were trying to do from the very first episode. I knew that's the direction they were going to try to go, and you do see it a little bit more in this episode because they're stealing looks at each other and they're doing this, and it's just.
But even if they do make that a thing, Daryl will still leave her ass. Even if they do make them a couple,
or he's gonna tell her to come with him.
Yeah, coming with him, but I was in denial because I was again saying, you know, it was friendly. She was the nun, everything. But I'm not buying their chemistry either.
I'm not buying it for romantic reasons. It just doesn't feel quite there yet.
It's not there.
I do feel like I do feel a little bit of the flirtatiousness, and I think a little bit more from maybe her side. But with Daryl,
what do you notice of flirting? I don't notice a flirting.
I'm not talking about openly flirting, because we know Daryl does not openly.
No, but I'm just saying. Aside from when the guy at the Abbey, the guy at the nest was like, you know, looking at her and saying that. But even with their interaction between each other, everything that I feel that she does for him is like her pushing Laurent on him. Like, stay because of him. He needs this male figure. He needs some guy like you in his life.
She's clearly deflecting.
Okay, because I don't see it.
She's deflecting.
You understand what I'm saying? Because even when Quinn was like, you know, trying to see what they had going on, because, you know, he loved her so much. But, you know, even when he was trying to figure it out, even then, I would have still seen her back with Quinn than I would have seen her with Daryl.
No, I see where it's coming from on her end, but it's almost like she thinks she feels something for him and she's trying to deny it. One, because she knows that his goal is to go home. Two, because also she hasn't been in that type of relationship for so long that maybe she's not, I don't want to say she doesn't understand what she's feeling, but maybe she's just to the point where she was like, no, that's just a little bit of, it could be just a little bit of lust. Like she ain't been with a man since she been at the Abbey. So it could be a little bit of that. And then, to kind of hide that
Have sex.
or
She had
not.
an opportunity. Quinn was ready.
Would you
You've been waiting, holding back the years, honey. He was ready.
After finding out that he fathered your nephew? No, I wouldn't either.
But I'm saying she had a willing participant.
But she has to be willing, and she was not with Quinn. However, I feel like maybe with Daryl she might. But I mean, again, like I said,
she did give him a bath.
The different little looks between each other, when she first came out onto the thing, when after she was recovering from her stab wound, they're looking at each other over the thing. He's like, hi, and she's like, hi. I was like, oh my God, please don't tell me we're gonna deal with this the whole episode. And it's just the little things. He's sitting there at dinner and he's looking across at her and she's looking across at him and Slange.
That feels forced. That feels forced. I'm sorry.
It does.
It does.
But
it just feels like
forced does not change the fact that is there. And I've been saying this since episode 1. Like, y'all really about to try to make this a thing.
Right. And I was just thinking, she's just friendly. Rich people is friendly, and
that's very coded. Believe me, I watch enough romance type things, and people
I do too. And I was just ignoring it because normally with those you can feel it from the beginning, and I don't feel it from the beginning.
I don't either.
So that's why I just was like, yeah, no, she's just being friendly.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I saw it. I was just in denial because I just don't want that to. I don't want that to be because I don't want that to be the reason why he don't go home.
Right, and then of course you throw in this child who has gotten attached to Daryl, and he has also seemingly gotten attached to him, which is understandable. I mean, I think we've had this discussion before. Like, Daryl is not a dad, but Daryl is a dad in all the ways that counts. He is taking care of multiple children when it comes to this zombie apocalypse. And I just feel like they're using that in a way to keep him there. And it's not just Isabelle, because I don't think Isabelle is doing it on purpose. I really feel like she's getting to the point where she's starting to panic because she realizes that Daryl is this close to going home, and she does not want him to leave for whatever reason. I mean, even if it doesn't have to do with a romantic feeling, even if it doesn't have to do with her wanting him to be there as an example for Laurent, she admitted in this episode she feels safe with him. She feels protected with him. She knows that he's a dangerous man, and she knows that he knows what he's doing. And I think when you are in a situation where you've had the protection of this one place for so long, and now it's just kind of out there, you're out there, you don't know what's going on. Like, yeah, you have these people at the nest, which you finally have gotten to, but these are not your people in a sense. They don't know you. They don't know what you've been through. They only know certain things about you. Like, they know that that you've been protecting Laurent. They know that Laurent, they think he's the Messiah, or whatever this thing is that they think about him. I think she kind of wants to hold on to him for the same reason Laurent did, where Laurent was like, all the people that I love are gone. I don't want to be alone. I don't think she wants to be alone. So even if there is no romantic feelings on her part at this point, I just feel like she wants the familiarity. But she gonna have to, the guilt trips are really what's starting to, like, you could kind of,
that's getting on my nerves.
In a couple of episodes ago, you could kind of see a thing here and a saying there and just a hint, but not like they were laying it on heavy and thick in this episode, especially once he brings up his grandfather and the fact that this episode started out with D-Day on the beaches of Normandy, and Daryl's grandfather was there, and so he gives Isabel a little bit of a background about that, about how his grandfather wasn't there for his dad, and his dad turned out to be a shitty father, and just kind of that whole thing about
I hated that.
how
I'm like,
cycles.
bitch, how dare you?
Well, yeah,
Right.
but I didn't mind his part of it, as far as like him telling the story, because we don't
Yeah,
hear a lot of Daryl's family except for the bad stuff.
correct.
For them to turn around and use that against him,
That part.
to make him
I didn't like
guilt
that.
him into staying, I had
Because see,
major problems.
and I think we're fortunate as viewers because we have the back history on him with Merle and all the stories, like with him and Beth, and we got more insight on what his family was like. So we have background. And for somebody who don't know him to come in and now you're trying to psychologically evaluate me and tell me all these things.
She's manipulating. We're not even going that. You're manipulating
She's
him.
manipulating him.
You're
Was attempting to manipulate him. Because at the end, you see he gone. He's like, all right. Great.
And then what happens at the end when he does leave? The boat is
badass little boy.
And Laurent is there. And I don't.
How about Daryl?
When I watched it at the end, and you could kind of see they did a long shot of Daryl on the beach and Laurent and all the walkers coming up. Did you notice Daryl was looking at the boat, he was looking at Laurent, and then all of a sudden you see him hang his head. It's like, why would y'all do that to this man? Because here's the thing. We know Daryl. We know his character. We know if he feels responsible for Laurent, he's going to go do whatever he needs to do to protect Laurent, make sure Laurent is being taken care of, being treated right, whatever. But if Daryl Dixon was a different type of person and was starting to feel resentful about the fact that y'all are putting all of this responsibility on him for a child that he, technically speaking, barely knows, this could turn out to be a whole different thing.
Guess what? Laurent ass would have been in America.
Right.
I can't take you back.
We would have been, look,
you don't have to worry about me leaving because you're going with me. We getting on this boat together, baby.
I just that whole thing just making him feel guilty. Oh, well, you know what? Sometimes when a man leaves home, he finds the place that he's really supposed to be. If you don't shut the fuck up and let this man go home.
And that's what
all because of your okay. I really try not to get on this soapbox, but you always see it when it comes to people who are dealing with faith issues, religious issues, and zealous fanatics. Anytime that it comes to religion, it's like their beliefs or what they want, what they believe is always supposed to supersede everyone else's.
Because you wouldn't be on this path if not for God. He wouldn't have been bringing you here if this wasn't really the place you were supposed to be. Because, I mean, technically, why else would you end up in France if you're an American?
Right,
this is your purpose.
He should have told her.
He can spin it though. He can spin it though. It using the same thing. But I have finished my mission. This was my purpose, and my purpose have been served. So now I gotta go and find my family.
Or you can just tell the truth. So let me tell you how I got to France. Madame Genet is sending people to America to make American walkers to bring them back here for all of these little walkers that I just got finished killing in this death match. That's what he really should have said. He should have told her, okay, so let me educate you on how I got to France. And it had nothing to do with me wanting to be, me wanting to see the world. I don't need to see that much of the world because I know for a fact Rick Grimes ain't over here. You know what I'm saying? So it bothers me that they are so focused and so selfish as far as what they want. And again, we still don't know what they're going to do with Laurent. Like, through the course of this episode, Laurent has arrived at the nest, and we see everybody treating him like he's a special kid, this, that, and the other. Same thing that we've seen with the other location. But it's like, so y'all keep saying he's a special kid. Y'all keep saying he's the Messiah. He's going to change the world. How exactly are y'all planning to do that? Because even through the end of this episode, this is the season 1 finale, we still don't know exactly what that means for Laurent.
What his purpose is.
Right. And again, I feel like...
And hell, he don't even know. Aside from all I know, I'm supposed to be able to save everybody.
Right.
How's that?
And it's like, for us, like Michelle and I, we've watched The Last of Us, so we know kind of they had a similar storyline with another child, and that storyline almost didn't work out well for her, because they knew that she had something in her to save everyone, but what they were going to have to do was kill her and take pieces of her brain and experiment and do all this other stuff. Are they going to do the same thing with Laurent? Like, do they even have the means to do that? Because we know they have doctors. Somebody fixed Izzy up. But, like, what is the whole purpose of this child, this Messiah? What are y'all doing? And why do y'all think this is supposed to be, like, so extra important to Daryl? Because if y'all fix whatever y'all fixing over there at France, y'all have a whole other problem to deal with in France, which is Madame Genet. If y'all find out that Laurent is in fact this savior, this Messiah, this cure to everything, I don't even know if they're considering him a cure, but obviously you're using the words like Messiah and savior. You're thinking that he's going to be an answer to the problem that y'all have, which is the walkers. Madame Genet is trying to dispel that information, because she wants to be the savior of France. She wants to build a new France, and she thinks that people who are believing in him are believing in, just fairy tales. So if y'all do prove that this boy is special, y'all gonna have a whole different battle to fight. Yeah. Because she's really gonna be gunning after y'all then. If Daryl leaves and goes across the seas, ain't nobody coming to chase him. He done already fucked one of her boats up. He done killed multiple of her soldiers. And even in this episode, at the beginning, they put him against several of those hyped up walkers, and he kills them with Quinn's help in this episode, but they kill him. So obviously, y'all don't want to keep fucking with this man. But this group over here, who may or may not be able to fight, who may or may not be, delusional enough to say, oh, this boy is the Messiah. Are y'all going to be prepared to fight like trained soldiers? Because the nuns at the Abbey weren't. They were trained, but not to withstand that kind of assault.
Right.
So you got a whole different problem. Let this man go home to his family.
And you would think, because I'm sure Madame Genet knows what he wants. He want to go home, period. You already see you can't kill this man. You can't get nobody else to kill him. You can't, like, even your man who you sent out on the mission, go get them. Kill the boy, kill everybody.
At the end, has a
he
change.
He couldn't even do it.
Right.
So, if nothing, even if you don't let him go home, leave that man alone.
Leave him alone.
Because at what point do you say, yeah, I done lost enough men. Because what he did in that death match, once he killed the last walker and threw that head up there, that's a big ass fuck you.
I almost expected him to turn around and shoot a bird at her after he did that. I really expected that.
Because it's like, what if that's not a huge fuck you, and all these spectators that you had that were cheering at first for the zombies, now they're cheering for this man. And you already got a problem with them praising the little kid. Now he's going to become the legend Daryl Dixon. Leave that man alone and let him go.
Just let him go.
Hey, won't you be like, you want me to take you home? I'll take you home.
Right. Like, can I just get
first class?
Can I just get rid of you? I will send you back.
Yes.
What do you need from me? If in order to make that happen.
Right.
Because at this point,
obviously you are
he
bad for
ruining
my
all the
business.
plans that she have. Like her vision, he's fucking it up.
Right. And it's not just behind scenes. He's doing this in front of the people she's trying to win over to her cause. Like, your serum isn't even fully working because you bring 4 walkers in. One of them, his head explodes because he can't handle the serum. And then the second one comes and attacks another one and kills it. That thing was like, oh, I don't recognize you as a walker. You are moving around.
That was probably the funniest. I said, oh, hell no.
Because even Daryl was looking like, what the fuck? Oh, okay.
Thanks for taking care of that for me.
Right. But Madame Genet just need to leave Daryl alone.
But we also have to realize all of our villains, not even, on this show, they get overzealous and they are overconfident and they have so much faith that they are doing the right thing that it never ends correctly.
Well, I mean, and that's the conversation we've had before. Like, they're all not necessarily villains because all of them, what
Cheetah
villain. Saying, you always the hero in your own story. You're only the villain in someone else's story.
No, she the villain.
I'm about to say, I'm sorry, she is.
I get that, but she's doing it under the mindset that she's gonna bring France back. She wants,
not the way you going about. I'm sorry, there's no way that you not. You doing some other stuff.
I don't know, because here's the thing:
dark stuff.
They might not use the walkers, the experimented walkers, or the accelerated walkers, whatever we want to call them. She might be planning to use those. Like, oh, okay, so we know we got people in America. We know we got strong people in America. Let's send those things over there and just get rid of everybody.
No, because depending on when this is, America's free.
According to Quinn, like I said, according to Quinn, when he talked to Isabel about giving her that jewelry, he said, I didn't expect to have to wait 12 years to give it to you. So we're somewhere around, I would say, the 12, 13-year mark, provided that he actually got those gems at the start, which I think he did, because he was talking about how when everything failed, people could just walk into the jewelry stores and just take whatever they want.
Well, if that's the case, I'm sorry to go back. You wasn't here for this episode. If that's the case, and that's where we are in the timeline, Carol couldn't have said that Rickman was back.
Oh, well, I agree with that too. But here's the other thing. So we do see it towards the end of the episode, Carol makes an appearance. She's looking for Daryl. She finds the guy who has his bike. So my thing is, if Rick and Michonne had already returned at that point, remember, they were the cause of changes in the CRM. You don't think Rick Grimes could have said, hey, my brother is across seas. Let's take one of these helicopters and let's go. He would have been with her, because even though, yes, he probably would have been like, I'm not leaving my children again. Just like Michonne didn't want to leave her children, and Judith said, go bring my daddy home. Judith is probably like, go get Uncle Daryl, because he's probably found himself in trouble. So I don't think it's Rick that she was talking about, because there is no way, especially after a 6-year, or at this point 8-year separation, there is no way Rick is just gonna send Carol, or let Carol go out there by herself to find Daryl, and he just gonna sit behind and twiddle his thumbs, or twiddle his thumb, or you know what I'm saying?
Not twiddle his thumb. He doing this.
I mean, there's no way that's gonna happen. So I'm going back to your theory, Casey. It might be Morgan that we're talking about. It could have been, I don't know, but it definitely can't be Rick and Michonne,
because they would have went with him.
Oh, absolutely.
They would have went with her. I mean, they would have. Well, we got to go find him. Look, we got one part of our family. Exactly, we got one part of our family. Let's go get the rest. So yeah. No,
I don't think so. And then
I'm gonna stick with Morgan.
I wouldn't be surprised if the CRM had a fleet. Maybe not a big one, but they had literally everything else that a military can need.
But wait, wasn't in the beginning like the first episode? Well, when we saw the ship, didn't it have the CRM symbol on it?
The ship and the Daryl Dixon ship?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Because we definitely would have heard.
We would have said something about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought that.
Okay. We definitely would have talked about that.
Definitely. But no, so.
Okay, because I want to say like, or maybe it was at the end.
Or you might be thinking about the ones who live.
No, it was a Walking Dead show, but it was an after clip.
Okay, we're gonna have to go back and look.
Yeah, I'm gonna research. But I want to say it was an after clip, and one of them had the 3 circles, like on the wall of the ship. Because it was one of them that had an after credit scene, and they was on the boat, and there was Madame Genet, and she was talking to like the crew.
Yeah, I remember that, but
which show was that on? That wasn't on the main show?
That was Daryl Dixon. That was episode, I want to say episode 2 or episode 3.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and look. So by the time we talk about it again, I'll have a
okay. But yeah, because I think if that had been a CRM ship, we'd have also seen a lot more of it just being talked about in the fandom. Now with this recording and these episodes that we've been releasing, we're several months, we're really late because of all the other stuff we've been covering and everything. So even other shows would have covered it. Especially like, I'm pretty sure if there was a CRM thing, I'm sure Squawking Dead would have picked it up, and I don't recall hearing them saying anything about it. So
okay,
y'all.
Maybe I might be mistaken, but I could have sworn. But okay,
girl, look, stop reading that fan fiction.
I don't even be on the internet. I gotta stay off the internet because I'll be mad as hell if I get spoiled about something.
Right, and we would have said something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, fine.
It's okay. But okay, so let's actually talk about more about the episode, because we have been very lengthy in our opinions about certain things. But let's talk about the cage match first of all, because when we left off the last episode, Daryl was getting ready to fight one of the souped up walkers. He pretty, I don't want to say necessarily short work of that walker, but it didn't take him as long as you would think, or it wasn't as short as you would think, given that this walker was enhanced. Like you would expect, a regular person, they would have been dead in like 2 seconds. Daryl is looking at this thing like, oh, okay, you leveled up. All right, got you. And he was able to take that thing out. And every time he did, Madame Genet's face was just so funny to me, because she was looking at the scientist who created the serum. And she was like, is this the best you got? He was like, no. But then you bring out the best you got, and it still ain't enough. First of all, when they brought Quinn out and handcuffed them together, and Quinn's ready to fight, they're about to fight each other. I was like, Quinn, you really think that this is about to go your way? Because he's very confident. He's very mouthy. I was like, Quinn, like,
this ain't about you. This ain't about you.
And then when they brought those 4 out, I'll be honest, I'll give it to Quinn, even though Daryl helped him at the last. He had his own. So obviously he has some skills. I mean, you don't become the person in the position that you were in France 12 years after the apocalypse without picking up a few skills.
Yeah.
But we see that he's been bitten, or that the acid got him. I think it was a bite. I couldn't really tell though. he
It
told
looked
Daryl
more like a bite to me.
okay, that's what I thought. But so of course he sacrifices himself to save Daryl so that Daryl can go and save Izzy and Laurent. But
When I say Daryl cut that hand off so quick, he was like, he wasted no time.
I would say no hesitation.
None.
None.
But it's like Madame Genet, like y'all said, you're sitting there, you're giving this big speech about the reunification of France and making it new and this, that, and the other. And then you put on a death match with walkers. I don't know what it is about dictators and human nature where they feel like those type of events are the right type of events to get people behind them. I understand as humans, we do have a particular need for some violence, but like even with the governor, when he was doing it, it's like, what do you expect to accomplish with this? And then for the tides to turn. I mean, before the world fell apart, there were still movies. I'm sure y'all saw Gladiator. Come on now. Like, this is what happened in the Roman times when you get a gladiator that is particularly skilled, that stands up against the status quo, the crowd always turns.
Yep.
It's like it's a given. And then you just up and leave and expect what? The regular people to kill them? If your souped up monsters couldn't do it, what makes you think your soldiers could? How many of your soldiers has he killed already? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You're running out of right hand.
And then go to the even beginning too. Not just this episode.
Right. All the way back on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he destroyed a boat. Like, he destroyed a boat.
Right. And the people on the boat. And the walkers. Some of the walkers that were on the boat.
Leave the man alone.
Just leave him alone.
Like, if she can't get a better wake-up call, leave this man alone.
Yeah. Because obviously, this one man with no military training has more training than your military training. I mean, than your military officers.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this man done been through some shit.
And it's clear to me, because so I get it. Like, when they make these armies, people have the luxury of guns. Mm-hmm. Whereas our people didn't have that luxury. So that everybody coming from the main universe will get down and dirty with some walkers, up close, personal. Mm-hmm. So they know how to survive. So even whether you're a human or a walker, I have built up this resistance where if you come close to me, I know how to take you out. Mm-hmm. Whereas the people that they recruit, because I'm sure that's what they're all people who are recruited trying to stay safe. You give me a gun, I can stay safe. Mm-hmm. They don't know that hand-to-hand combat. You know what I'm saying? Because even like when Daryl was training for the people in the convent, mm-hmm. even them, like, you got to get up and close and personal. Like, yeah, you're not always gonna have a weapon. You're not always gonna have that safety net of that. Daryl been in the world how long? 14, 15 years, mm-hmm. killing up close and personal. So do you think this man is gonna let anything so simple take him out? Hell no.
Yeah.
In order to kill Daryl Dixon, you're gonna have to shoot him from far off.
Yeah. I mean, look at what he was doing on the beach. Once he realized, first of all, I started laughing when he was calling out to the boat, because I was like, here we go again, failing zombie walk 101. Why are you yelling? Granted, I understand the beach was very clear from his point of view, mm-hmm. and obviously he really didn't encounter any walkers on the way, not that they mm-hmm. showed us, except for the one that was stuck in the tree. So yeah, he probably got a little too relaxed. But the minute they started coming out of the ground,
and you have to keep in mind, because even when he got there were no walkers. So
Right.
What makes you think they hiding in the ground?
Right. And like there was one part, it looked like a cave where a couple of them were coming out. I'm like, wait, he walked the whole way here. 2 days walk now, according to Losang. This is a 2 days walk. You get all the way to the beach. You go through the entire American soldier graveyard that's there, which, okay, I will say that was a beautiful moment to see Daryl
and
be
him
able to
looking for
connect.
his.
Yeah, once he realized, oh wait, this is a graveyard for the American soldiers who died here, he starts looking for his grandfather's grave and he finds it and he has that moment. That was so beautiful. I loved it. But
That was
again, you've gone through and looked through all of these graves. You haven't tripped over not one walker. The minute you open your mouth and you see the boat, they all start popping up like you playing a game of whack-a-mole. Like, what the how?
And
Where?
even with that, yes, okay, this is my thing. Because Laurent followed him. Remember, Daryl was holed up in the rain in the little house. So Laurent was outside in the rain. Where this child was at?
Okay, let's
He
go.
left he left the day after him and ran the whole way to catch up with him while Daryl was.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. I would not put it past Laurent.
Yeah, because you know he need a whooping. So okay, so let's just go back to the boat. It made me think of this movie, and no one probably ever saw it. It was Limbo. And at the end of the movie, it was the same thing. You're on the beach, you needing to get off the island, you see a boat coming, and you waving it down. And it made me think you don't even know who's on the boat. And that was the whole thing.
He knew because Losang said, okay, we've reached out. This boat will be here in 2 days.
I still don't trust that. So that made me think of Limbo. Like, you think you know, like they called for help too, but they didn't know if it was the murderers on that boat or the help. That's how I feel. And second, yes, Daryl was having a leisurely stroll down to the beach to get there. So that little boy was running behind him. But I can't believe Daryl didn't even realize the boy was behind him.
Right, you're supposed to be this master tracker.
Yeah. Okay, but hey.
The master tracker don't know he being tracked.
Right.
Or that Laurent got through those walkers to get up there to call Daryl's name, like, and then you're standing there so calm. But all of these walkers are gathering, like the last shot we see of them, the walkers are gathering right before Laurent. Laurent can't fight them off. And Daryl is way down there on the beach pouting because his out just got snatched from him. So I do question a couple of the decisions that they make.
Yeah, very much so. You already know. You already know.
Because I said the same thing. How you make it all this way? This man had to sleep in the rain in the little barn overnight.
He probably was in another part of the barn and just kept quiet. I mean,
no, he didn't.
No,
he wouldn't have kept quiet. As soon as he caught up to him, he was gonna say something.
He would have been saying, "Daryl,
so
wake up,
apparently,
Daryl."
While
Daryl would have been pissed at him. I mean, think about what happened when the boat happened. The way that Daryl went off on him.
Yeah.
He probably was like, yeah, I'm not getting cussed out again. I'm just going to stay back here and I'm going to be quiet the way Daryl has been telling me to for all this time. I'm going to actually listen now. Because other than that, you're right. It doesn't make sense. The fact that Daryl doesn't realize that he's not alone. Because Laurent can't be tracking him from that far back. Two, I mean, it would be easy to say, okay, maybe he just followed Daryl to the coast. But again, Laurent has never been outside the Abbey until all this stuff happened. So he wouldn't even know which way to go.
Right.
So I don't, but okay, let's go back to this thought. Laurent does seem to know some things that other people don't tend to know. And again, we don't know what message they're trying to send us in the show about Laurent's character, whether or not he really is this kind of special kid and has this little sixth sense about things. Because think about it, when they were in the death match, when Daryl was fighting the walker by himself and Isabel started praying, Laurent was like, don't worry, Izzy, he's gonna be fine. And literally right after that, he killed it. But when the other ones came in, I don't think he knew for sure. And that's when he started praying. So I don't know. There's something about him. He does sense some things. So maybe there was something guiding him after Daryl. Because other than that, nothing else makes sense. Because if you have Laurent coming after Daryl, then technically speaking, Isabel should not be far behind.
I mean,
so
that is absolutely true, because at some point she got to realize he's gone.
That part.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So it's like
you ain't win no 2 days without knowing he ain't there.
Right. And not following him. And she would have had access to a car. So I don't know.
So let me just be completely honest. I really didn't care for this episode. Because it made me mad.
Yeah, there were
all the reasons that we're talking about, and I was good up until this episode. However, the whole season has been good, so I can ignore it. It's not like Dead City.
Don't this. We're not gonna start.
I just got one question. Maybe
I can ignore these little issues because Laurent, he is a sheltered kid. Now, at this point, now he should not be running off, but I guess he feels like all good and bad because he killed, a walker. However, again, why is this little boy running off? Why nobody watching him?
He needs
he does.
Yeah.
He does. Why are you asking a man you only know him for 2 months on Tinder to stay with you forever?
Don't say on Tinder, because that turns it icky. So yeah, don't.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. You can't say that though, because I have some friends who actually, got married and met, and they had nice dates on Tinder. So I'm Tinder.
Oh, you're talking about see, I thought you was talking about Laurent. That's why I was like, that's icky.
Oh no, I'm talking about yeah. You just met this man and you want him to commit to you and your child. I'm gonna say you and your child, even though it's your nephew, but to commit to you and your child.
Just like Judith and RJ are Daryl's children. Yes.
Right. And to ignore his family that you didn't even get bothered to even understand, because you have, I don't know, this purpose, this whatever.
Right.
However, really?
Like Laurent is the only person who's even asked him about people back home.
That part.
Yeah.
And prayed for
that
them.
part.
Yeah.
So,
and then you got a villain that you saying is not a villain because they trying to help friends and stuff. No, you not, because you creating things that's gonna get out of hand and kill all of humanity at some point. That part.
Yeah.
That part.
But Casey and I talked about this.
But I would leave Daryl alone though, because seriously, he is fucking up my plans. So I just was like, that's just some people you just let go. Just let them go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Help them get home.
Right.
Help them.
Right. But Casey and I were saying this in the last episode, because I was like, how is it that Cadron still has a job? Because he keeps promising Madame Genet that he's going to get Daryl, and then he doesn't get him. And in this episode, he literally got the drop on Daryl after they had escaped and everything. He had the drop on him. He had Isabel. He had Sylvie. He had Laurent. You had them all there. You could have just killed Daryl and just been done with it if that's what you really wanted to do. But I don't know if it was watching him fight in the pit or if it was something to do with Laurent, but something changed Cadron's mind, to the point where he was like, I can't do this. Because when the other soldiers were saying, okay, yeah, you need to go ahead and kill him, meaning Laurent, he couldn't bring himself to do it. And he even had the opportunity to kill Daryl. Daryl was like, look, I'll go with you. Just let them go free.
And that was my question. Because by the time he got back to Madame Genet and she questioned him, she's like, oh, you got out without a scratch? He told so quick. He folded like a chair. Like, yeah, well, I couldn't kill him, so because she was like, you killed my men. And he folded like immediately.
But you know what? She may have had somebody who reported back, and a person in his position and the type of person he is, he does not seem to me like the type of person who would try to lie to cover something up or who would try to save his ass. He'd be like, oh, well, she knew it. Okay, what the fuck is she gonna do? I mean, because at this point, he already knows what's coming. Might as well just be up front and be like, yeah, I screwed you over.
But he gotta know that's not gonna end well for him.
And he does. But either way it goes, even if he had lied to her, that was not gonna end well for him. And he's smart enough to know that.
Why even go back?
Because you were gonna try to sell that lie. But when she looked you in the eye and say, I can tell a liar by looking in their eyes, he already knew.
Yeah, that was the only thing that threw me. Like, you ain't waste no time. She asked you, you ain't him, you ain't her. You was like, yeah, basically. I did it. Okay.
Right.
And you don't even let it get you no water first. You need a drink, you need something. Like, you just spilled the beans. I was like, what? I didn't like that part. I didn't like that part.
Because since he's been with her, he's been loyal to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he really got to the point where he was like, okay, maybe if he goes back, he figured out where the nest was, or he told them.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, the Mont Saint Michel? Oh, that's about a 2 days walk that way. All right. And it was like, basically he was telling them, I'm giving you a head start, but just know that I know where you're going. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling that maybe once he came back, regrouped, got himself together, he probably would have gone to the nest, did what he needed to do, maybe not killed Laurent. I think he would have killed Daryl, but I think something about giving him orders to kill a child, I think maybe was probably too much for him, because at first Madame Genet didn't want Laurent dead. She wanted Laurent to work with her to turn everybody towards her cause. Mm-hmm. So I think that probably messed with his conscience, especially if you're thinking from the perspective of, this is a man who had a younger brother, who had someone that he protected. He probably looked at Laurent and was like, I can't do this. This is not what I was meant to do. His whole thing in all of that was to get revenge on Daryl for killing his brother. Right? So,
and then part of me was looking, okay, so like when he was in the pit and he was like, now you die for killing my brother, whatever, the way Daryl was looking, he looked at him back like, because you could tell Daryl was kind of like,
Daryl was like, what the fuck you talking about?
And so I think that's what made me think that he turned a little bit at that moment, because he was like, this is for my brother. And when Daryl looked at him, he looked and he was like, okay. And then, something in him was like, you don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
But I think when he went back, he could have easily played that if Madame Genet had fallen for, the lie that he had told. We were outnumbered, we got ambushed, this, that, and the other. If she had actually believed him, he could have gone back out, taken the nest, gotten Laurent, killed Daryl, and then he would have been a hero to her. He would have been important to her. But once she's already looking at you with doubt and suspicion, Madame Genet, for all of her faults, and she has many, she does not suffer fools. We have seen that with her. She knew that dude was lying as soon as he walked in. And he knew that she knew he was lying. And again, he doesn't seem like the type of person that would just pussyfoot his way out of it. He was just like, oh, she know. Okay, whatever. But you saw when she asked him about the nest. Yeah. Yeah, but you saw when she asked him about the nest, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. She know he lying about that too, which is going to make things worse for him. But then that makes me wonder
why
right.
I
Why
guess I
not
don't
say
understand the
anything at this point?
motive. Right. I guess I don't understand the motive because at this point, like, what's the point?
Right.
You
Like,
already
why are you
killed a
all of a
man
sudden protecting them?
from one interaction on the side of a truck.
Right.
And then even when you was on the side of the truck, you notice he didn't even mention nothing about his brother. Because he believed that look. Well, what the fuck are you talking about?
I believe a lot of it may have to do with Laurent. I think it's gotten to where he is starting to believe the hype about Laurent. And then when he's getting ready to shoot Laurent, and Laurent was just like, God loves you. That was a complete turn for him.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think he's probably feeling a little guilty. I mean, he did literally stab Isabelle all the way through her shoulder. So he probably had a little guilt about that too. But yeah, it almost seems very sudden as far as his change of heart.
Yes.
So because you went from like,
and maybe if we had a reasoning, maybe that's what it is, because you ain't give us no reason why.
They're gonna give it to us in season 2 probably.
But I'm just saying that makes it feel real. Like, the fuck was that?
Right.
This great reversal with no explanation.
Right.
And no lead up to it.
No, right.
Yeah.
It's no right. Because that's why I was like, when he told her, yeah, I was like, well, what? Like, you didn't, normally they drag shit out. No, they didn't drag that one out. Yeah, okay, yeah, I did
it. He doesn't seem, again, he does not seem like that type. Because, I mean, he literally, when she said that to him, he looked at her. He took her cigarette lighter out of her hand, lit the cigarette light, and I mean, he basically, it was the same type of attitude Daryl had in the Death Pitch. That was a fuck you moment to her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what caused it, but I mean, I'm grateful because right now that means Laurent and company are safe in the Mont Saint Michel, at least for now.
At least for now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but like you said, it's not going to work out good for him
at all.
He's not. I mean, I would not be surprised if she makes him into one of her little walkers, but she's going to try to get that information from him first. So
I don't see him giving it up.
I don't either, because if you've gone this far,
you take it. Gotta see it.
Right. And you're probably, given the fact that you are trained by the military over there, you probably can resist a little bit of torture. So that's not going to be, probably the next time we see him, he's going to be either close to dead or he's going to be one of those walkers. And she's still not have her information.
He's not going to be a walker yet. He may turn into a walker, but I don't think so yet, because we need an explanation.
Correct.
They just make him a walker with no clarity on that whole situation. That would be stupid as hell.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't even know what to say about Cadron, because like I said, he was so singularly focused the entire season about getting the American, getting the person who killed his brother. And for him to have that kind of change, I think Laurent may have something to do with it. I think maybe once she started losing the crowd, okay, not just because of the walkers fighting Daryl and Quinn winning, but you also had, remember, Falou, Sylvie, and Emile kind of snuck in there with everybody else. And when Daryl and Quinn finish killing all of the walkers, Madame Genet is basically like, okay, you know what? Let's get this over with. She's telling her men to shoot Daryl and Quinn. But before they can get a shot off, Falou has his gun out. He shoots and puts that. When I say he put that gun up so fast and continued walking out with everybody else, I was like, you know what? Falou is that dude.
Yeah.
He is that dude. But maybe that was enough for Kadron to be like, okay, maybe she don't have it quite as locked down as we think she does, or she wants us to think she does. You just lost all your walkers. It's obvious your little serum that you're using for them is not 100% yet, because I mean, you literally shoot one of the walkers and his head explodes because he can't handle the serum. So maybe he's just sitting there. What is it we always say? He's reading the room.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I think I'm in the wrong room. Because other than that
very well could be. That very well could be. But they need to give us an explanation. Yeah. For me, I need the reasoning. Like, I get it, and I'm sure at some point, if he ain't a walker by next season, we'll get it. But I hope they give us that before they just move on with that storyline.
Yeah.
Like, I need to know why did you have a change of heart?
Right.
That's probably the only thing from this episode that I'm unclear about. Everything else was kind of, I enjoyed it. I didn't dislike it as much as Michelle. I enjoyed it. I just didn't like that one open-ended thing. Yeah.
Well, I didn't say I totally disliked it. It had really no purpose, really. There was just things that they just did for us to get ready for season 2.
I feel like in a way it was kind of,
anticlimactic or something. It wasn't. Yeah. I guess that's what it is. I don't hate it. It was just like, it was like,
it's almost like, okay, we'll end it this way just in case we don't get renewed. But if we do get renewed, we're not giving everybody like just, oh my God, they want us to be surprised.
But at some point, we already knew it was going to be renewed. So
they did before filming that last episode.
He needed a reason to stay in France.
So I think what they did was because they knew, they kind of made it like a mellow episode because we got so much to tell you in season 2. So we're going to throw in these little small changes for you to get ready.
And then they knew they was introducing Carol season 2, which is what everybody's looking for.
Right.
So, but even in that, because they wrapped up Quinn storyline, he gone. I mean, we still got to figure out what happens to Marie. But, for the most part, that storyline is done. Her and Laurent making it to the nest, we know that that's a safe haven for them. Daryl just got to get Laurent badass back there.
Oh my goodness. So I can't go home. I mean, this kid is holding me hostage.
And I told you. That's how he was on the beach. His head was hanging.
So that's why, so I'm going to go back. I don't hate it, but I just felt it was anticlimactic because I think they were like, oh, we got so much we want to do in season 2.
Right.
Let's just end it.
Yeah.
On this note and move on. I mean, of course, the fight scene was the greatest.
Yeah.
And then that was it for me.
Yeah. They probably should have had that at the end.
Because then we wouldn't have Carol being her usual badass self. So let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carol ran somebody down on a bike. Ran them down. Give me that bike. No, first of all.
Where did you get that bike? Where's the person who you took the bike from?
But you know what? Carol forever the chameleon. Yeah, something in the trunk. Come look. Get your ass in there. I was like.
So the thing that I love about Carol is, one, people always mistake the gray hair to mean like she's this old woman who can't do shit. First of all, she's been gray for a long time. Some people go prematurely gray. That takes nothing away from this person, but just because y'all want to be ageist or whatever and decide, oh, this is a little gray woman, she can't do shit. I'm gonna boss her around. I'm gonna take her car. I'm gonna take whatever she got in the trunk. I was like, you know what? I never get tired of seeing, especially like the big burly men underestimate this woman, because then when she whoops your ass, you sitting there looking confused, like, how the hell did I end up tied up in the trunk? Like, how did she get me in the trunk? She knocked your ass out, and then she pushed
And
you.
then say, you better be telling the truth.
Right.
Like, no, I'm not coming back.
She was like, because if not, like, if they do something to me,
you gonna be here.
You just gonna be
Yeah,
stuck.
you gonna stuck. Oh, I still feel like he gonna be stuck. Even if he was telling the truth.
I mean, that's his fault. You never underestimate.
She gonna go off and forget. Oh
That
man,
is his
I'm
fault.
halfway. I'm in the middle of the ocean. I forgot about that man in that
But
truck.
I did leave that man in that trunk, didn't I? She might send help.
Because it won't be an accident. Carol, at this point, she probably don't care. She's just like, oh, okay, so you got my friend's bike. So you had something to do with whatever happened to him. So if you die, you just die. I don't think she.
You are a means to an end. I need to figure out where you got this bike.
Right.
Once you tell me where I got the bike, let me go to that place next. Find who ass I need to whoop.
Right.
Get what I need. Then let me leave there. Go to the next place I need to go. Find who ass I need to whoop. She gonna whoop ass all the way to Europe.
I mean, she wouldn't be Carol if she didn't.
That part.
So, but
I'm looking forward to the next season. I think it's gonna be what this one needed. That little sprinkling. A little look, the Salt Bay of Carol. Need a little bit of that. And I think I think the next season is gonna give us, number one, the reunion we want.
It better.
And hopefully more concrete and final answers to like just some of the, for me, that whole storyline on why you turned. And number three, Team Connie.
I mean, let that man go back home. Let that man go back home. He got people who waiting for him. Like he said, when Laurent asked about his people, he meant, who did he name specifically? Judith, RJ, Carol, and Connie. He didn't name nobody else. He named those 4 people. And we already know Carol is on her way to find him. I don't know if she's gonna make it to France, but it's Carol. It's possible. We just gotta see. But let that man go home to his folks. And stop trying to push this other romance. We don't want it. Nobody asked for it. Nobody asked for it. So, other than that, I actually enjoyed this season. I liked that it was different. I liked that it took place in a different area and we had to deal with all of these different new obstacles. The burning, the acid walkers, and the walkers where they fused metal things onto their heads so that you couldn't just easily kill them. Like, y'all are really protecting these walkers. What? I just need to know about the experiments. What exactly are you guys trying to do?
It's not saving the world.
No, it's not in that sense. No. You might be trying to save France by creating weapons. I think that's what she's doing. But obviously, you're not looking for a cure. You're looking for something to make them more dangerous. But here's the question. So what happens? Because we've seen how they react when they get the injections. Who's supposed to control them? That's my question. Because at least with World Beyond and the, what was it, Dr. Emerson episode of Tales, you saw them doing experiments to try to see how much of the brain activity remained of the human. You saw them trying to detect migration patterns. So they were trying to use the zombie brains to figure stuff out. What are you going to do with this? Like, what is your end game?
But we still never figured out, or they have never referenced again. Remember the walker that shot herself at the end and got up and ran to the we still haven't heard a reference to that.
I'm kind of wondering if we will get that reference or something about that in this show. Maybe not. Of course, obviously, we didn't get it in the first season. Maybe we'll get it in the second season. And maybe that was what started all of this for Madame Genet. Who knows? But you can't throw that bone out there and expect us not to be like, okay, y'all gonna tell us something. Because again, that woman clearly knew she was a zombie at that point. She clearly knew she was a walker, and she panicked. So something of the brain has to exist. Maybe it's just for people who are more educated, that sort of thing. I don't know. But yeah, there's some questions that they are going to have to answer with this show, and I'm hoping they'll do it in the second season. We don't know what the second season is going to be about aside from Carol going to find Daryl. They've already announced the third season. They've already started filming the third season. I think they're probably halfway through the third season, and I have seen a mention that I believe there will be a fourth season, and that may be the final season, but don't quote me on that. So it's just kind of like, okay, if y'all are doing this, that means that Daryl's not going home anytime soon. Or he's taking Izzy and Laurent with him, and that's going to be a whole different thing, because if you're not in France doing this whole thing with Laurent where he's the savior, he's the messiah, however that storyline finishes, if y'all are going to 4 seasons, either that proved not true, or you taking them back to America. So I don't know, but
and the point that they take them back to America would have to make it where it coincides and aligns with the ones that live, or at least after that has ended.
Yeah, but that means it would definitely add on. It would definitely add on a few years, because if we're going by the information Quinn provided in this show about the 12 years, that means, like I said in the last episode, that means Laurent had to have been 11 when we met him, or maybe just turning 12, because it could have been the later part of 12 years that Quinn was talking about. We don't know. But so an estimation, Laurent was 11 or 12 when we met him. This has probably been maybe a few months over, the course of season 1 has probably been over a few months. So he could still be in that 12-year-old range, or could be 13. Did we have a birthday celebration for him in this show? Yeah, like somebody mentioning a birthday. I couldn't remember. I thought I saw that, but I might have just been thinking about something else. But
I don't think so.
Okay. So
it says, I'm sorry, I Googled it.
Okay.
It says, how long after The Walking Dead is Daryl Dixon? He said, now we're only 2 or 3 months after the end of The Walking Dead. So this is still within the timeline of the show, the original show ending.
But that makes no sense if Quinn says 12 years, that he had to wait 12 years to give Izzy that necklace. That doesn't vibe, because the Walking Dead show.
Because see, it says how much time has passed from The Walking Dead? Approximately 13 and a half years.
Yeah. That sounds right.
That's the total time.
So
it's
then
been 13 and a half years. But Daryl Dixon started 2 to 3 months after the events in the Commonwealth.
So then that means Quinn's math was wrong.
Yes.
Okay. That would make a little more sense, because Laurent being an 11 or a 12-year-old, that just doesn't vibe, as far as not just what he knows. I mean, that kind of, it would explain what Michelle says about him being emotionally stunted at around 9-10 years old. But he's big for that age, which means I don't think he could be younger than that, because even if he's been isolated and protected and hasn't we don't know. He may not have been exposed to a lot of sun, not gotten a lot of sunlight. When you stay cooped up in a house all the time without fresh air and stuff, it stunts your growth. So yeah, that probably makes a little more sense that he would be a little bit older. But then that definitely means that it's not Rick and Michonne that Carol was talking about on the walkie-talkie. That's a definite then.
Yeah. Got to I'm gonna stick with Morgan.
They're just gonna have to reunite in season 2, and she's just gonna have to tell him who it is so that we can all be satisfied. And then she can be like, okay, I came over here to get you. Bring your ass home.
Let's go.
Let's go. You got folks.
I know a guy who know a guy who know a guy who got a boat. No.
So yeah.
Let's get in this boat.
So I guess we just need to start on season 2 now.
Yes. I'm excited.
Y'all have any final thoughts?
We better get some answers in the first episode. They better do first episode Book of Carol the way they did first episode The Ones Who Live, and she better find them right when she get there. Like, she better open the door and be like, "Oh, I'm in France. Here's Daryl."
No, I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be mid-season.
Because
I think mid-season, like, they're gonna get close, but the issues are gonna have them separated, but they're gonna be parallel a little bit, and it will be mid-season, like when they run right into each other. Yeah, I feel like it's mid-season.
You think it'd be accidental or on purpose?
Accidental.
Probably accidental. No, I mean, just knowing them, it'll probably be accidental.
Yeah. Like, it's accidental.
I think that would make more sense, because for the Rick and Michonne show, that show literally was, we need that reunion. We need to see the payoff for Michonne leaving her children, and we need to know exactly how that story ends. So them giving us the reunion in the first episode and then kind of going back and forth between present time and past, that worked perfectly for this show. I think this show might be a little bit different. Yes, we've had some flashbacks as far as what Daryl is thinking, but I think one of the things that's interesting about Carol and Daryl's relationship is they've spent as much time apart as they have together. Whether it's because of circumstance, it's because of arguments and disagreements, them kind of not speaking to each other. I think it makes more sense for us to not see them together immediately. Give me some Carol. Everybody wants to see Carol. They want to see what Carol's going to do to get to Daryl. That's going to be half the fun. I don't need to see them reunite in the first episode. Give it a couple of episodes to kind of simmer, and let's see what Carol is about to get into, because she's about to get into some shit.
Right. And I think the shit she gets into is going to again be parallel, that kind of bumps them into each other. So that's how I feel. Overall, I again did enjoy this so much better again than Dead City. It was caretaking in the writing and the pacing. The pacing could have been a little bit more faster, just a tad, just a little bit. But again, like I said before, Daryl's on vacation. You know how it goes, a little slow and leisure when you're on vacation. The urgency is not there.
Okay.
So there's a lot of questions. They put a lot of questions out that definitely need to be answered in season 2. You gave us a lot, because it's a world building. You're world building because we're international now. But however, I need you to now start answering these questions of things that we saw and things that were put into place.
Right.
So overall good. So if season 2 is Book of Carol, then what season 3 is We Are Family. I mean,
the Book of Laurent.
Reunions. No,
that'd be the damn book.
No, no, he doesn't get a book. It's a book of
reunions. It's gonna be called Book at Home. Let's go.
Bookit.com.
Book it.
My flight home. I mean,
Book a flight.
That notes, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.